All right, guys, this is utterly insane. I think we have just experienced one of the biggest events in crypto exchange history. Binance Exchange, the biggest exchange in the world, just bought their rival FTX. And it's just not a usual acquisition. This is a chokehold. This is fighting your competitor until your competitor actually asks for your help. That's how crazy and insane this is. I mean, this just came in right now. CZ tweeted this out and said, this afternoon, FTX asked for our help. And to help with their help, Binance is essentially intending to fully acquire FTX.com. This is going to allay a lot of concerns because prior to this event, a lot of people were afraid that they couldn't get their withdrawals from FTX exchange, that there were some serious problems there. But it seems to be that Binance is coming in as a white knight now to help their bitter rival by just buying them flat out. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to cover the event itself, which is going to, my mind is still blowing up right now. It's like this is still sinking in. But at the same time, we're going to talk about some implications for crypto overall as well. Because obviously the exchange competition landscape is just flattened now. But also because Sam is super heavily involved in a lot of different cryptocurrency projects. He's invested a lot. He's also started a lot too. I mean, obviously he's very big in Solana, FTT, of course, Serum. There's going to be ripple effects throughout the entire industry. So we're going to cover some of that here in this video. And obviously, of course, like if you guys appreciate content like this, I'll really appreciate if you leave a comment down below about what you think, because I actually want to gather some opinions today. And of course, I do want to, if you can help the channel as well, if you like the video, that would be very helpful. So let's get into it. Now I just have to bring this meme up because like, this is, I didn't create this, but this was sent to me. Bankman-Fried warns of some crypto exchanges already secretly insolvent, and then lols, it's mine. Oh my god. This has so many layers of meaning now that we know these things. So what's exactly happening? So CZ tweeted this around an hour ago as of making of this video. He said this afternoon, FTX asked for help. This is there is a significant liquidity crunch. To protect users, we signed a non-binding LOI. So that's a letter of intent, intending to fully acquire FTX.com and help cover the liquidity crunch. We will be conducting a full DD in the coming days. So this is really an intent to acquire FTX. It's still not done yet. They're still going to do the due diligence. But at the same time, of course, you can see that Sam has also tweeted out a similar comment as well. Obviously, for him, he's phrasing it a little bit differently. He doesn't want to show that he's losing, but you know, we all know what's happening here. But let's say Sam is saying, "Hey, after I have a few announcements to make. Things have come for a circle. FTX's first and last investors are the same. We have come to an agreement on a strategic transaction with Binance for FTX.com, pending DD, etc." So, yeah, I mean, depending on how you phrase it, I mean, CZ's going to call this an acquisition, Sam's going to call this a transaction, but they mean the same thing. Binance is pretty much acquiring FTX.com. Obviously, there's a lot of concerns over withdrawals because what's led to this, like what caused this in the first place, is that people were unable to withdraw from the FTX exchange. I mean, over the past almost 72 hours, more than $800 million of stablecoins have just left the FTX exchange. People were withdrawing like crazy because they were fearing that this is almost like a Celsius event. They were fearing that this was going to be a collapse and people won't be able to withdraw. So there was so much fear going on. People were mass panicking, withdrawing funds. And withdrawal stopped for a while. So at that point, it's very clear that Sam ran out of liquid cash to facilitate these withdrawals. And it might be very well in the case that it was not a very small amount. I think we can probably assume that by now, because if it was a small amount, I think Sam could have approached other investors to cover maybe $100, $200 million. But if it's upwards of the billions of dollars, they probably knew they can only approach Binance for that amount of money. So yeah, I think it's pretty safe to assume that it's northwards of $1 or $2 billion at this current point. So CZ has tentatively signed a non-binding agreement to acquire them. He also hinted, this is actually quite interesting as well, if you actually look at the tweet itself, it's constructed in such a smart way. He says, stay Seifu, right? And if you guys know, Seifu is Binance's kind of acronym for their safety fund to protect user funds. He didn't say funds are Seifu, which is this classic quote. That's this like, if there were any funds on Binance that were at risk, he'll always say funds are Seifu. But in this case, he said stay Seifu, implying that he's giving me a wink. He's like, okay, I can't really wink right now. It's very late for me, but it's like wink, wink. He's doing something to protect user funds at this current point, but also no guarantees, right? He's not saying funds are safe. Stay Seifu. He's also interesting. He's also being a little bit elusive about the situation with FTT token, which is a native token for the FTX exchange. He says, we expect it to be highly volatile in the coming days as things develop. I think this is just so perfectly drafted at this current point. But at the end of the day, what has happened has happened. Binance has basically acquired their rival. And in the most aggressive way, like it's a very aggressive way to kind of force your opponent into submission, because kind of Binance started this whole event by creating a bunch of uncertain tweets, a bunch of attacks on the FTX exchange was cautious in the first place. So Binance essentially put Sam into a chokehold and Sam submitted to it. So, never a dull day in crypto. And the crazy part of this is that it happened in 3 days. Now let's take a look at what happened and the events leading up to this, because I think this is super interesting and it really goes to show how much strategy there was at play in this. This was not an easy acquisition by any means. So let's go back to the start and look at the research. So we have an article here on boxmining.com about what's happening with the war with FTX. And there's kind of an order of events, and we'll just follow this in kind of chronological order and figure out things out. So let's just talk about Alameda Research first, because that's kind of the sister company to FTX. It's kind of how Sam started in the first place by creating Alameda Research, which was a fund that invested into various projects, including projects like Solana and Serum. And there was accusations that Alameda wasn't doing very well. Now, shots were really fired on November the 6th. So this was when CZ came out and said they were going to sell $2.1 billion equivalent of cash, BUSD, and also FTT coins that Binance was holding. You have to remember that Binance were one of the first investors in FTX, right? They were one of the first ones. They kind of helped incubate this in the first place, but they had a falling out. So, but because they were one of the first investors, they still had tokens and money from that investment, right? So by being able to dump a huge amount of FTT, it caused a huge amount of fear in this community, right? Now, things got super heated when CZ put FTT in the same sentence as Luna, because Luna collapsed, right? So this is super high IQ, because obviously everyone picked it up, right? I saw my WhatsApp being flooded by, oh my God, CZ just, put them in the same sentence, kind of implying something, but not implying it outright, right? But people got the message. People got the message that FTT was in trouble. And you can also see this follow that collapse of FTT as well. Just over the past 7 days, it dumped from $22 to what is now essentially $9, right? So this had a catastrophic effect on FTX's native token. And of course, it had a catastrophic attack on the people who are holding funds on FTX. there was a huge movement of funds out. Over $800 million of funds were being moved, and people were tracking that aggressively on Twitter over the past 24 hours. So that was kind of the events, the cascading group of events that led up to this. We see CZ being extremely aggressive here, outrightly telling people that he was going to sell FTT on the market. Now the crazy part here is that if we look at it with hindsight, right, you can sense that there was tension, there was aggression, but at the same time, it was, how do I put it? It was so carefully phrased that you can't really fault him for anything at all. Like, that's the craziest part about this whole event. Like, if you think about it in retrospect, like, this was part of his plan, right? Like, very likely he knew what was happening with these recent revelations, and he knew when to strike, but he struck in such a smart way. Like, I have to give CZ credit for that. Like, to be able to have a fight with Sam, but at the same time, know that he can cause so much damage to win out this war. Anyways, my mind is just blown at, I have to clap at that. Can you say that he was evil? I don't think so. I actually think that, like he played his cards right. He destroyed a competitor, but at the same time, he also covered for the funds that, or he's potentially going to cover for the funds that are missing in FTX's books, or to pay out and protect consumers. So, I mean, you can't fault him for that either, right? So that's the insanity of this whole play. It's really some Game of Thrones stuff. I really think that, like, it was so perfect. And at the end of the day, this prevents these two exchanges from fighting each other, right? Like, imagine how much money they will have to throw in to win over retail at this current point. And, by combining their forces, they can tackle regulation easier. So now, obviously, of course, the other implication here is on a lot of cryptocurrencies that Sam invested in or he's part of. So first and foremost, of course, is FTT. I mean, FTT is dumping heavily even as we speak right now. And that's because Binance already has its native token. So now that Acquire FTX exchange, the certainty of FTT is no longer there. Like, Binance doesn't need a second, exchange token at this current point, right? So that there's a bit of uncertainty, well, quite a lot of uncertainty there, and CZ hinted at that already, and he was very strategic in saying, it's going to be volatile, right? We also have a little bit of uncertainty affecting Solana as well, right? Because you see that Sam was heavily supporting Solana, and it's kind of their kind of coin or blockchain of choice when it comes to development, right? So, yet again, like, I see, because Binance has taken over, there could be two possibilities actually. So obviously, CZ will not support Solana, right, as aggressively as Sam did. But will Sam, now that he is more free, has more free time, will he take over and help with Solana and Serum? Who knows, right? That's where the volatility comes in. That's where there's still a lot of uncertainty in the market. Like, I mean, if Sam chooses to say, yeah, you know what, I'm going to focus full time on Project Serum, it could move both these coins up. But at the same time, who knows what's going to happen, right? It's still uncertain. And this acquisition is not certain yet too. So that's a lot up in flames, a lot of uncertainty going on there. So I think we shall see. Now, obviously, the market's also not in a perfect shape. I'll just address right now that, we are in a bear market. And for these events to happen during a bear market, that's always going to be quite scary. Especially with Bitcoin is right now. Like, we kind of reached one of our support points, and we kind of broke through that relatively quickly. So yeah, that doesn't, it's like, I'm going to say it plainly to you, that doesn't bode well. We'll have to wait till a few major events happen this week, namely what's happening with the elections, what's happening with interest rates. I'm sorry, my mind is blanking out. It's actually 2 a.m. here. So yeah, there's still a lot of uncertainty coming this week. Big events coming up this week, and of course, TradFi is in a big mess right now. So all these factors is leading up to what I'm personally thinking may be a 2 to 3 year bear market for crypto. Right? That's we've survived bear markets before, and I'm kind of taking my mini break right now at this point of time. For me, I'll just define a break very quickly as well. I've been a lot slower in releasing content. That's just personally because I'm kind of like traumatized from making so many videos over the past few years. But in terms of crypto, nothing here has changed my outlook. Maybe I'm gonna reconsider a few things about what's happening with my trading habits, because I was actually using FTX quite a bit. But yeah, nothing really happened. My big HODL bag has remained untouched. Yeah, I don't think this changes too much in the strategy, but I will follow it up in the next few days, because I think there's a lot more changes to come, and we're seeing massive dumps right now on the cryptocurrency front. So I do expect a lot of volatility. If you actually think about it, this peak is crazy because people don't know how to respond right now, and there's never a dull day in crypto. So anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful to give you guys a little bit of insight into what happened and the uncertainties that are affecting coins ahead. I'd love to know what your comments are. I mean, this is ridiculous. What your reactions are. Leave them in the comment section down below. Sorry, that's not COVID. It's just me talking too much. But anyways, see you next video. Peace.